Hey guys, I've got to say this is one of my cutest tutorials yet, and today's lesson is going to be how to make a cupcake beanie. You can make this in striped versions, which is what I'm going to show you. You can also make it with the top piece all the one colour. You could also add sprinkles to the top here just by using a little stitch about that long and stitching it on, and then just tying it on the other side in different colours. You don't have to use the pom-pom if you don't like to, but I just thought that it resembled the cherry on top of the cupcake. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thanks for watching. You are going to need two colours for the top of the hat. I've chose a light pink and a darker pink, and also the brown is the colour of your wrapper for your cupcake. So this is going to be the brim of the hat. So when you look at a cupcake, you have the paper or like the flavouring of the cupcake. So this is going to be a chocolate cupcake. We are also going to need a hook that is recommended for your yarn, a sewing needle to sew in your ends, and a pair of scissors. We're going to chain 4 and then join with a slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. This is where we're going to be working into. We want to chain 2, yarn over, working into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. We need to have 12 half double crochets into our ring, and our chain 2 counts as our first stitch. So we have 1, 2, yarning over into the loop, yarning over, pulling up a loop. We have 3 on our hook, yarning over and pulling through 2. That's 3. And we want to continue until we have 12 half double crochets. After we have our 12 half double crochets, that's including the chain 2 as our first, we want to slip stitch to the top of the chain 2. So not the first chain that we did, the second one. Slip stitching into there to join. And in this pattern we are going to work 2 rounds of each colour, so we need to work another round of this first colour. So chaining up 2. In this row we are going to increase in every single stitch, so we are going to be putting 2 half double crochets into each stitch. So working back into the same stitch with a half double crochet, going into the next stitch, working 2 half double crochets, and in every stitch around we want to make our increase, which is 2 half double crochets into the same space. So we've nearly finished off our round 2, and we are going to join with a slip stitch, but we are going to cut off our colour we were just using, going into the top of the chain 2, grabbing our next colour, lay the yarn over the hook and holding on to it. You want to pull that yarn and complete your slip stitch. Now just pulling down at the back on our short piece so it's nice and secure in there. Just want to do a chain 1 to secure it, just pulling down again on the short piece, and that will secure it down into there. So we want to do a chain 2, 1 and 2. Might need to pull down on the darker one, the last row, just to make sure it's nice and tight. Into our next space we want to do 1 half double crochet. Into our next space we want to do 2 half double crochets. So in between our increases we are going to have 2 separate stitches. So this is our first one, all worked in half double crochet into the next stitch. This is our second one, because there's our increase into our same stitch. There's our two separate ones, and then we're going to work an increase, which is 2 into the same stitch, remember? So it's 1 into the next one. It's our first stitch. 1 into the next one. That's our second stitch. And then an increase. So what I like to do after we do our increase, I count. I go 1, 2, and an increase. So the 1, 2 was in a separate stitch each, and then my increase. So that's 1, 2, and an increase. It's 1, 2, and an increase. Repeat this all the way around until we get to the beginning. And each round is going to end on an increase. So I have 1 stitch left, so that means it's my increase, which it is. If it's not, you know you've made a mistake. So now we are going to join to the top of the chain 2 with a slip stitch. So there's our round 3. We need to do one more in our lighter colour, and of course you can pick any colours that you like. I'd love to see photos or a video response of all the different colours that you come up with. So into our next space we're going to put in 1 half double crochet, into the next space we're going to put 1 half double crochet. Now in the previous row it was 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. On this row it's going to be 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. So I have 1 in 1 stitch, 1 in 1 stitch, 1 in 1 stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase. Start again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and an increase. And we want to repeat this all the way around till we get to the end of our row. So now you cut off your yarn and we put our hook into the top of the chain 2 and pick up our next colour, because we have done 2 rows of our pink. Now of course you can do 3 rows, every 3rd row change colour, every row change colour. It's completely up to you. I'm just doing every 2 rows. Once you get the hang of it, you can mix and match as much as you like. So we've attached our yarn there, and we're doing a chain just to secure, pulling down on the short piece at the back, which will secure it down into there. We want to chain 2, so 1 and 2. Into our next stitch we're going to work 1 half double crochet. Into the next stitch we're going to work 1 half double crochet. Into the next stitch we're going to work 1 half double crochet. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember the last row was 1, 2, 3 increase, 1, 2, 3 increase. This row is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 increase, 1, 2, 3, 4 increase. So we have our 4 stitches going into the next one with an increase, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. Now depending on the type of yarn you're using and how thick it is, will depend on how many rows of increase that you have to make. If you're using thin yarn, you'll have to make more rows than you would if you're using thick yarn. So I have my increase, so I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. And the way you test to see if it's going to be big enough, so you know when to stop increasing your rounds, you place this part on the top of the head, and if it is big as the crown of the head, then we start to make our straight sides. If it's not as big as the crown of the head, you need to keep going. Now this is being for myself, so obviously it's not going to fit. So I need to make lots of increased rounds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and increase. And repeat this around until we get back to the beginning. So we're back to the start of our row, and we want to join into the top of the chain 2 with a slip stitch. Now you can change rows, you could do like 1 and then 2 form, just for the demonstration, that way it's easier just to keep up. So now we want to do 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch. So this row is going to be 5 in between our increase, because our last row was 4. Can you see a pattern forming here? Each row we go up 1 more stitch in between our increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. Anyone would think I've got something for pink at the moment. I've got pink nail polish and a pink hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we work our increase. And like I've said before, do this until the end of the row. Okay, so your beanie should start to be curving around now, and we are at the end, so we need to join our rows. But we've done 2, so it's time to change our colours. So snip, just looping it over. Oops. First of all, we need to do our slip stitch. So slip stitch into the top of the chain 2, hooking our yarn, pulling it through both of those loops, just pulling down at the back so it secures it down, and doing a chain 1 to secure like we have done on previous rows. There we go, it's nice and tight. And chaining 2, 1, 2. So this one, 1 in the next, one in the next, one in the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need 6 on this row. Remember, because the last row was 5 in between our increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then increase into the next stitch. Doing 6, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and an increase. And repeat this around until we get back to the start. So joining to our chain 2, we want to chain up 2, and this one is going to have 7 in between our increases. Now, this is the last row I'm going to show you, because I'm sure most of you will have it big enough by now if you are using worsted weight yarn. I've only got the equivalent of double knit here in Australia, so I have to do a few more rows of increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an increase. So continue this until you have the crown of your beanie big enough. If you need to do more rows, the next row will have 8 in between your increase, the next row will have 9 in between your increase, and don't forget to change colour every second row. Okay, time to change colours again. And then looping your yarn over the hook. First of all, we need to do that chain 2 again. Go into that chain 2. There we go, into the top of the chain 2, looping over the top, pulling through and pulling through, pulling down at the back, and then a chain 1 just to secure it down in there. This little fella here needs to be around the back, so we'll just flip him round. And chain 2. And we are going to continue on with our increase round if we need to, and then I will catch up to you when it is time to do the sides of our beanie. So I'm up to the end of my row and I'm just about to change colours. And I'm up to the bit now where I don't need to do any more increased rounds. So this is the easy part now. Chain up 2 as normal. And then we want to work 1 half double crochet in every single stitch. There's no increasing from now on. So that's just 1 in every stitch.